changed at all, but because Trump won the popular vote. So there was a lot of talk from the right wing of, oh, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. Screw democracy. We don't want democracy. Pete Hegseth, writing in his book about we should, gerrymander so badly that the Democrats never win again.
But there's a bunch of Democrat books talking about packing the Supreme Court, and now we're going to have states.
And I hate it.
All right, and so I'm not a fan of democracy. I don't want democracy.
See, there you go. So that's exactly what I'm worried about. That's why I'm not right-wing.
What about our democratic republic? Because we're not a direct
democracy.
democracy. Like, do you mean our type of democracy as a republic or just in general?
Liberal democracy is a general colloquial term we use for countries like the United States and our system of governance, and that's what I'm for. Democracy in this idea that majority rules doesn't make sense.
Tim Pool absolutely shreds Cenk Uygur by pulling the receipts and pulling up the facts live on his show. Let's watch it together.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because both Biden and Trump have done horrific pardons. Egregious, unacceptable pardons. But Trump doing a pardon of Charles Kushner, which is very similar to Hunter Biden's pardon, is terrible. But I wouldn't say, oh, you should never vote for that guy. You can't vote for that guy. That means terminate the Constitution. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means it's a crappy pardon, okay? So there's a giant difference between, hey, I disagree with you, or you did something really wrong, and I'd like to end the country by ending our Constitution and our democracy. So to Tim's point, whether you guys agree with me or not, whether the right wing agrees with me or not, that was my concern, okay? So am I less concerned about it now? Yes, not because they've changed it all, but because Trump won the popular vote. So there was a lot of talk from the right wing of, oh, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. Screw democracy. We don't want democracy. Pete Hegseth, writing in his book about we should, gerrymander so badly that the Democrats never win again.
But there's a bunch of Democrat books talking about packing the Supreme Court, and now we're going to have states.
And I hate it.
All right, and so I'm not a fan of democracy. I don't want democracy.
See, there you go. So that's exactly what I'm worried about. That's why I'm not right-wing.
What about our democratic republic? Because we're not a direct democracy. Like, do you mean our type of democracy as a republic or just in general?
Liberal democracy is a general colloquial term we use for countries like the United States and our system of governance, and that's what I'm for.
This part matters because words matter. America is a constitutional republic with democratic inputs, not a direct democracy. That design is supposed to protect minority rights and regional interests from getting steamrolled by the biggest metros. The Electoral College isn't a bug in our system. It's like a brake pedal. It just keeps the vehicle from flying off the cliff. Do we need improvements? Yes. Cleaner voter rolls, better ID, ironclad deadlines, more transparency. But the overall architecture of this type of democracy is smart. It slows the mob, filters bad incentives, and forces candidates to court states, not just cities. If your plan for saving democracy is to nuke the parts that shield small states, you're not saving anything. You're just simply nationalizing mob rule.
I gotta do one thing real quick, because you said that Trump called for the termination of the Constitution. I'm going to read the quote. Trump posted, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner, or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Our great founders did not want and would not condone false and fraudulent elections. I would draw the distinction in, obviously, I see you're more as a progressive. You're gonna view it from a left lens, which is Trump is saying this allows us to terminate the rules. My interpretation is he's saying, in general, a fraud of this magnitude would allow, generally, for anybody.
But Tim, he's talking about that election. And number two, no, there is no provision in the Constitution that says if some, rando or a candidate or a president decides that he didn't like the outcome of an election, you can terminate the whole thing. All rules, regulations, and articles. All terminate.
And the way the right views it is that he's saying the fraud they have committed is allowing them to terminate all the rules in the Constitution.
No, Tim, you're making crazy excuses. That's not what that
I'm telling you, that's
at all, not 1%.
No, I'm not.
So he's saying it allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles in the Constitution. So what part of that is the left saying it? He's saying it.
No. My point is the left's perspective is Trump is saying this would empower him to terminate the rules. That's the argument they've made.
He's at least saying that I want to terminate the rules.
But that's the left perspective. The right perspective is he's saying the actions that have been taken allow in general for these people to basically violate the rules of the Constitution.
No, that doesn't make any sense. That's not even close to what he said.
Well, I understand that's your perspective. I'm telling you what conservatives are saying.
Yeah, I don't even think conservatives are. Have you seen that anywhere? Yes. I mean, that's a fun interpretation that you had. I could just reverse everything that Biden said he was young and dynamic, but he meant he was old and senile.
It would be like saying precedent from the Supreme Court would allow us to do X, Y, or Z. Not saying that you intend to do it or want to do it, but the actions taken by the Supreme Court are allowing the states to do something, right? So when the left says the overturning of Roe v. Wade is going to allow for women to be put in red dresses and caps, they're not advocating for the handmaid's tale. They're saying a court precedent would allow for something like this to happen. That's the perspective from conservatives, and that's why when you say,
wait, I don't get it at all, Tim.
If you enjoy content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
How in the world is Trump saying a massive fraud like this means that you terminate all rules and regulations of the Constitution and articles of the Constitution? How is that interpreted as he thinks the left is saying it?
So in the instance of the Supreme Court issuing a ruling on Roe v. Wade, if a Democrat said this allows for women to be forced to give birth, that's not a Democrat saying they want to force women to give birth, is it? They're saying...
Yeah, but Trump isn't saying that. Trump is saying that because of the fraud against him, we should consider or terminate all rules, regulations, and articles of the Constitution. It's not at all unclear.
I'm not telling you that that's not your interpretation. You're not entitled to it. I'm saying conservatives view it from another lens.
Yeah, I think that's wishful thinking because they want to make excuses.
Things are going completely over the head for Cenk Uygur. I mean, his brain just can't process simple English comprehension. Let's get this thing clear. So here's the CNN post of what Trump actually said. It says, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner, or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even even those found in the Constitution. It's simple English, bro. A massive fraud of this type allows for termination of all rules. It doesn't fucking mean that Trump wants to terminate all rules and regulations. It means just what it says. A fraud like this allows termination of rules, therefore the fraud shouldn't happen. Trump is simply giving a warning about fraud. I mean, this whole fight between Tim Pool and Cenk Uygur is about reading simple English comprehension versus rage interpretation. To be honest, you can't school Cenk because that implies he has the capacity to learn, and I don't think he has any of it.
Almost every single Trump supporter will say he did not say to terminate the Constitution.
Yeah, that's just nonsense. You're just looking at it and go, okay, I'm going to read it in backwards. So if Bernie said that, I'd be done with him in a second, in 1 second flat. Any politician I support says, maybe we should, there was something, you're getting justice against me, let's terminate the Constitution. No, get the hell out of here. That's it, I'm done with you. He does. All right, whatever.
I mean, I don't know.
All right, look, I don't. Look, we can argue about the English language. Maybe in German he doesn't mean that, but in English he said terminate the Constitution. He didn't say the Democrats think to terminate the Constitution. He said the exact opposite. And Tim, it's not 1% unclear. So conservatives can take that and go, okay, I wish to interpret it as him talking about the left, even though he says it's about him and the fraud against him. You can wish to a sentence to mean anything you want, but that's what it means. And guys, what are we pretending that he didn't try to steal the election? I know.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
Okay, yeah, all right. So I mean, we could go back in that old debate, but it doesn't really matter because he won this time around, right? So we're done with it. Now, if he goes back and says, I'm not leaving, then we're not done with it, and that's part of what I'm worried about. So that's why
84 by that point, something like that.
Yeah. So I'm less worried now because the popular vote was on his side. So now the right.
You're not seriously scared of him staying in office for another term because I've heard that before. Like I don't know.
No, but here's the thing, brother. When somebody says I'm going to terminate the Constitution, when someone says, I don't have real electors, I have. When
somebody says I'm not going to pardon my son, and then pardons my son, we're dealing with politics, and all of these guys are full of liars.
Nonsense.
At the end of the day, this wasn't a debate about personalities. It was a test of clarity. Tim tried to parse a sentence, Cenk tried to ban the other reading. Tim pushed process, Cenk pushed panic. And the audience can see it. If fraud stands, rules fall. That's the argument to answer, not avoid. If you're with me, subscribe. Next video, we'll watch something really interesting. We'll meet tomorrow. Bye!